I'll be the last one to judge what you're doing. As long as I don't have to intervene.
Hello, welcome to the Hard Reset. What just happened?
Why? But there, for whatever reason, you would be surprised how many intoxicated people crash into the side of a giant train.
Well, because
obviously,
think about it. So, you didn't see it. I mean, that's a big cue. Okay. You didn't hear it. There's the next cue.
Yeah.
And then again, they're pretty rumbly. You mean,
and it's going by, the cars are going by. So it's, there's movement there.
And there's there's some arms in the way. There's some blinky lights. There's so many cues that there might be something obstructing the general projection of your automobile.
Yeah.
That may stop it in a big hurry.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, but they'll give you every excuse under the sun as to why they hit the side of this train or whatever. And it's always,
and now it's even questionable.
Unfortunately, it's always followed by, "Hey, have you been drinking tonight?" Usually breathalyze them. And
oh gosh, this is not really bad though.
Kill a horse.
This is gonna make for a really good story for whoever this was.
Yeah,
man. This one time, well, they're gonna be like, "Hey, why are you in prison?" This one time, I ran into a train in my Chevy Silverado. The Chevy Silverado, it can take on a train. It'll beat the pants off of a train.
What was that old saying or the old? Like a rock, the slogan or whatever.
So today I had this person ask me if I had any mustard. And I was like, yeah. He goes, where's it at? I was like, it's behind the counter. Are they like packets? I was like, yeah, I got mustard packets. He's like, okay. Well, first it was him, like his buddy. They're like giggling, I'm not going to try to judge anybody, but I mean, they were, they had like the neck tattoos, full sleeves, just... They look like riffraff from Staten Island or something,
Outstanding members of the pillars of the community.
Yes. But what? They were having a good time. They were enjoying life and cannot fault anybody.
As long as they're not hurting anybody else. I mean,
right.
I'm well past the Superman stage. I'm 15 years on, man, and I'll be the last one to judge what you're doing. As long as I don't have to intervene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, do not mess my day up. I will not mess your day up.
That's it.
It's pretty. Those are pretty simple rules.
I'm a live and let live guy, dude. I really am these days. I mean, you spend enough time doing that. There's enough bad people out there doing really bad things to consume my time with, versus like the normal, dumb stuff that people do, and everybody does it. God forbid.
Everybody does it, or everybody has done it.
Yeah, if I wanted to do traffic, like for example, traffic violations. If I wanted to do traffic violations, I could do that all day, every day. 24 hours a day.
You probably wouldn't make it out of your driveway.
No. Because I mean, it is, again, it is what it is. But I mean, the prime example is that one area that I'm in a lot. It's, we've had since 2020, I think we've had the hands-free law, which we've had the hands-free law for a long time, but you couldn't. How
do you enforce that? I don't even understand how they even thought.
Most of the time you literally,
that could be enforced.
Most of the time I'll roll right up beside people and they'll be literally driving alongside me, texting, literally driving and going like this. And you're driving past them and you look over, you happen to glance over and they're oblivious.
Yeah.
Or, there'll be obvious signs like heavy traffic, light goes green, cars pull away, the third car just sits there. And they'll honk, and then they get mad.
I know, they give you the finger, then they drive off, or they wait for the light to start to change and then take off.
If you happen to be beside them as everybody's starting to take off, say you're the third person in this line over here and you're starting to pull away, or even if you're like the fourth or fifth and you're starting to drive by them and they honk, you see them get visibly mad. But they have their cell phone in their hands, and instead of being like, most people's reaction would be like, oh, I need to go.
Oh no, they're probably saying, hey,
they'll sit there another minute.
You will not believe this jerk right now interrupting my phone call.
That's it. Like the weird entitlement. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah.
Anyways, so this was really weird though. So he asked for the mustard, so I was like, all right. So I give him a packet of mustard.
Yeah.
And I'm just assuming he's not buying anything at this point in time. And then he goes, you have infield? And I don't know, for whatever reason, I was thinking like cigars or where I'm not trying to stereotype anybody. I'm just thinking he wants to roll something or stuff something in a cigar. I'm looking like the cigar section, and he goes, "Oh no, they're right over there." So he's like pointing at it. And he's being really polite and stuff, you know. And it's like, oh, it turns out it's like some cheap menthol cigarettes. So I grab them for him, you know, and I'm ringing the cigarettes up. Hey, buddy, I need to see your ID. And he just starts laughing.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. It's like some 40-year-old guy with half mouth and no teeth, right? But it is what it is, right?
It's like, that did not happen overnight to your body.
Yeah, exactly.
You've worked on that very hard.
Yeah. Rode hard and put away wet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so he gives me his ID, you know, we're just kind of, at this point now, we're just joking back and forth.
Was it an ID or was it a driver's license or was it an ID card?
You know what? I really didn't even pay attention. I just
most
hit
of the
it.
time they have suspended driver's licenses, so they only have an ID card.
I just hit it with the
not the stereotype people, but
profiling is bad. Anyway, so after I verify that he is at least old enough to buy cigarettes,
and then you're scared because you thought he was 65 and he's only like 32.
I know, right? It's like
from the abuse,
right? It's like,
body.
Holy crap! You just barely turned 21. What's going on here?
And it's like, I thought you were 45.
So, what are you gonna do with a packet of mustard? Because I did actually ask him. I was like, "Do you want one or two?"
Yeah.
And he specifically like, "Oh, I only need one." So I'm like, "Okay."
So now the curiosity peaks. You're like, "What are you gonna do with menthol cigarettes and a pack of mustard?" But
Exactly.
I'm curious now too. You got to tell me what the ending of this.
Oh no!
Is.
Well, I will not drag this out too much longer because it's actually pretty damn funny, and I don't know if there's any truth behind this, or if it's just the fact that
is this some kind of tweaker trick to get high or something? I don't know. But
no,
go ahead.
No. So
I don't know how they come up. I don't know who the first person that comes up with these weird like ways to get high, like puffing gas or something. But go ahead.
So do I even want to know what you're going to do with this packet of mustard? And I'm just thinking like really stupid things.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on somebody's door handle or the steering wheel, or I'll just go really dark for 1 second. Says I'm going to coat my butthole with it and shove a gerbil in there or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
So I'm just waiting for anything to come out of this guy's mouth. I mean, this is that, and that's the spectrum that he's in. It's like any of these things
could be a possible answer. Yes,
is a possibility.
Yeah.
And then he tells me, which totally floors me. I was like, well, I've been drinking. I don't know if you can tell or not. I was like, I wasn't sure what you've been doing. That's not my any of my concern.
Yeah.
So he says, yeah, if you just take some mustard, then he said I'm not sure who they is at this point. He says they cannot smell the alcohol on your breath. And I was like, seriously? I've never heard that before. He says, yeah, my girlfriend, she's a real big stickler.
Yeah.
And so what it sounded like was like he's supposed to be out at work for the day, and him and his buddy
he's out there having
went and had a good time going fishing or something. Who knows what happened?
Anything but going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now he's getting some menthol cigarettes and some mustard
cigarettes
to cover up their day of debauchery.
That's like, I mean, there's like
so
weird,
confusing.
There's weird old like wives' tales about how you can put a penny under your tongue and you can beat a PBT.
There's no way.
Portable breathalyzers. It's false.
What's the science behind it?
There's no science behind it whatsoever. But
and if there was science behind it, guess what? The person that came up with that system of detecting, they would have figured that out and put a way of it.
Kind of a copper filter. I don't know, or whatever. Whatever.
It's like, it's not even a thing.
Yeah, but it's not even a thing. But the thing of it is like those myths, back in the day was